Have you ever asked yourself why some women grow increasingly irritated with their husbands over time? It's something many long-term marriages face. A bond that once seemed unbreakable can slowly transform into daily frustrations, quiet bitterness, or even open resentment. But what's behind this shift? Why do countless women, after years together, end up feeling distant, drained, or even bitter toward the very person they initially chose as their lifelong partner? In this video, we'll dive into the underlying reasons driving this transformation. From changing emotional needs to years of silent frustrations, there are specific dynamics that slowly push marriages toward tension. Often, these changes happen gradually, so subtly that neither partner notices until one day, the warmth simply vanishes, replaced by resentment, aggravation, or even regret. But here's the important part. Understanding these patterns can truly help. It clarifies things, whether in your own marriage or relationships around you. By recognizing these signals, there's still time to shift direction, reconnect, and rebuild a satisfying partnership. Stick around until the end, because the reasons behind this transition may surprise you. These aren't just ordinary complaints or temporary annoyances. They're deep-rooted psychological and emotional issues that have shaped relationships silently over years. After watching, you might view your marriage or past relationships in a completely different way. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss upcoming videos. If you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, please type 0 in the comments so I can improve future videos. Now, let's jump right in. Number 1, years of unrecognized emotional labor. One major reason why women grow resentful toward their husbands as years pass is the burden of emotional labor. Years spent nurturing the relationship, managing household responsibilities, and taking care of family, frequently without acknowledgement or gratitude. Emotional labor isn't just about physical chores, like preparing dinner or cleaning. It's the hidden mental and emotional efforts that sustain a marriage, such as remembering birthdays, tracking family schedules, resolving conflicts, and consistently ensuring everyone's needs are met. These tasks often fall on women, and after decades of carrying this invisible load, exhaustion inevitably sets in. Many men believe providing financial stability fulfills their role, yet marriage involves far more than finances. It's about emotional engagement, effort, and making a woman feel appreciated for everything she contributes. When a woman spends decades managing responsibilities, raising children, running the household, and handling social events, and her husband never fully recognizes or appreciates her efforts, resentment quietly grows. Take Carol, for example, a retired 72-year-old teacher. For years, she balanced raising 3 kids, working full-time, and ensuring her husband's daily life ran smoothly. Every holiday meal was planned by her, every birthday gift carefully selected, every doctor's appointment remembered, friendships maintained for both of them, and she always kept their lives comfortable and orderly. But reflecting now, she noticed something important. No one ever did those things for her. Her husband never once asked if she needed help or thanked her for everything she did. Now, after decades, she no longer feels love, just exhaustion. What makes emotional labor particularly frustrating is its invisibility. A woman can spend an entire marriage ensuring everything functions seamlessly, but if her husband doesn't recognize her effort, he'll never understand why she grows distant or resentful. It's not that she abruptly changed, she simply reached her breaking point. There's also the matter of how appreciation evolves over time. Early in marriage, simple gestures often suffice. A quick thank you, a heartfelt compliment. Yet, after years together, if a husband begins to take his wife for granted, expecting her to handle everything without lifting a finger himself, he creates a dynamic where she feels more like his caretaker than his equal. Once that feeling takes root, love gradually weakens, replaced by irritation and emotional fatigue. The truth is, Women don't just wake up suddenly deciding to resent their husbands. Resentment builds slowly, through countless small moments of feeling invisible. If a woman senses her emotional efforts have been overlooked for years, she naturally starts to withdraw. If this resonates with you, or you felt unnoticed in your relationship, you're not alone. Many women experience this, often without realizing it until much later. The second issue arises when she feels more like a roommate than a wife. Over the years, numerous women begin sensing they're sharing their home with a roommate instead of a husband. This shift can be deeply hurtful. In the beginning, there's excitement, passion, and strong emotional bonding. But gradually, when both spouses stop making intentional efforts, the romance fades, leaving only two individuals coexisting under one roof. For most women, this doesn't occur overnight. It happens slowly. Initially, it might be missed date nights or fewer meaningful conversations. Eventually, routine takes over. The same schedule, same activities, same superficial exchanges continue until she suddenly realizes she no longer feels truly connected with her husband. They might share meals or watch television together, yet the closeness has vanished. She no longer feels desired or understood, feeling more like his housemate than his spouse. Consider Linda, a 69-year-old retired nurse. Early on, she and her husband laughed frequently, took leisurely walks, and discussed their dreams openly. But gradually, conversations grew shorter. He stopped asking about her day, opting instead to spend evenings silently watching TV. Over time, their lives became parallel, together yet emotionally separate. Most painfully, he didn't even notice the shift. To him, nothing had changed. To Linda, everything was different. This scenario unfolds in many marriages, largely because many men mistakenly believe marriage means the effort is done, assuming that simply being physically present at home is sufficient. They forget relationships require continuous nurturing to flourish. They don't realize that years of emotional detachment leave a woman not only lonely, but resentful. Women crave emotional intimacy as deeply as physical closeness. They need to feel desired, valued, and connected through meaningful conversations. A husband who stops trying, stops flirting, stops complimenting, or stops showing genuine interest gradually becomes someone his wife resents. Because when she no longer feels wanted, she starts wondering, why am I even here? Another painful truth is many women genuinely try to address these issues before giving up. They voice their concerns, share their needs, request greater affection and attention. But if these appeals are repeatedly ignored or met with apathy, eventually she stops asking. Once a woman stops striving to reconnect, the emotional separation becomes irreversible. If this resonates with you, you're definitely not alone. Many women experience this emotional disconnect, something they never imagined would be part of their marriage. If you're still watching this video and find these insights helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. Your interaction motivates me to keep creating content that supports and encourages you. Number 3, unresolved conflicts that accumulate over the years. One of the biggest reasons women start resenting their husbands as they grow older is the buildup of unresolved issues, minor disputes, letdowns, and emotional hurts that never really got resolved. As time passes, these ignored issues don't vanish. Instead, they layer frustration upon frustration, eventually deepening into lasting resentment. Many couples develop a pattern of avoiding issues rather than addressing them head-on. It may begin with minor incidents, a dismissive remark, forgetting an anniversary, or leaving an argument unresolved. Initially, a woman might shrug these off, believing they aren't worth the conflict. But over the years, these small disappointments accumulate. An overlooked apology here, an unmet expectation there, and before she realizes it, her husband has hurt her in countless subtle ways, none severe enough individually to end the marriage. Yet together, they create an emotional gap that feels insurmountable. Take Patricia, a 74-year-old retired accountant. She'd been married for more than 40 years, and from the outside, her marriage looked solid. But internally, she carried decades of bitterness. She vividly recalled every instance when her emotions were dismissed, her needs minimized, or her husband promised something he never fulfilled. Whenever she brought up these frustrations, she'd typically hear, "You're overreacting," or "That was years ago. Why bring it up now?" Eventually, she stopped arguing, gave up hoping for change, and stopped believing her husband genuinely cared about her feelings. Unfortunately, Patricia's situation isn't unusual. Many women hold on to pain because they never achieve closure. When a man repeatedly ignores or trivializes his wife's concerns, he sends a clear message, intentionally or not, that her emotions aren't important. This emotional neglect fuels resentment more powerfully than almost anything else. Another harmful consequence of unresolved conflicts is how they alter a woman's perception of her husband. Early in a marriage, there's affection, respect, and a deep sense of partnership. But when conflicts remain unresolved, those positive emotions gradually diminish. A woman who once viewed her husband as her closest friend might now see him as someone who refuses to listen, disregards her needs, and over time, feels more like an opponent than a partner. The saddest part? Many men don't even notice this shift. They assume that if their wife isn't complaining, everything must be okay. They mistake silence for harmony, not realizing silence often indicates she's given up on trying to communicate. If you've ever felt your frustrations were consistently overlooked for years, and you find yourself thinking, why even bring it up anymore? Please know you're not alone. Countless women feel the same way. Number 4, changing priorities that leave her feeling unfulfilled. As women get older, their desires and priorities naturally shift, often in ways their husbands don't notice or accommodate. A life once satisfying, raising kids, managing the household, supporting a husband's career, can begin to feel like a closed chapter. Many women eventually desire something deeper, whether it's greater emotional intimacy, personal growth, or newfound independence. Yet, when a husband stays stuck in old routines, unaware of these evolving needs, it creates a painful gap. For many years, women often set aside their own dreams and desires for the sake of family. They dedicate themselves to parenting, providing stability, and ensuring everyone else's needs are met. But when the kids are grown and the household no longer demands the same attention, they pause and notice something's missing. If their husbands haven't grown with them, if they still expect the same routines as before, many women end up feeling stuck in a life that doesn't satisfy them anymore. Consider Helen, a 68-year-old retired librarian who devoted decades to her family. She assisted with school assignments, organized family trips, and poured her energy into making their home cozy and inviting. But in retirement, she began seeking new adventures. She wanted to travel, join clubs, and pursue interests she'd previously set aside. Her husband, however, was perfectly happy sitting in front of the TV each evening, uninterested in trying anything new. Whenever she proposed something different, he would brush it off, replying, "I'm happy the way things are." What he didn't realize was that she wasn't. This is where resentment takes root. A woman who spent her life prioritizing others starts noticing nobody is doing the same for her. She yearns for a fulfilling life, but if her husband refuses to engage and grow alongside her, she starts viewing him as an obstacle instead of a partner. This shift in viewpoint turns mild annoyance into deeper resentment. It's not just about shifting priorities. Many men fail to acknowledge this change until it's too late. They assume their wives will always be happy playing the same role as before, missing the fact she now desires more. When a woman senses she's outgrown her marriage while her husband remains unchanged, it creates a gap that's nearly impossible to bridge without genuine effort. Growing older should mean embracing new opportunities, not merely routine repetition. When women feel they're continuing to grow while their husband stands still, resentment isn't just about boredom. It's feeling restricted from the life they now desire. If this resonates with you, if you've experienced changing priorities while your husband clings to old habits, know you're not alone. Many women feel this as they age. If you're still watching and find this insightful, please comment number 4 below so I know you're here. Your involvement helps me create supportive and encouraging content. Number 5, lack of emotional and physical affection. Among the most painful reasons older women feel resentment toward their husbands is the gradual, unmistakable loss of emotional and physical closeness. Though all marriages evolve, feeling unloved or disconnected from someone they once deeply bonded with can hurt deeply. Early relationships usually have warmth, hugs, kisses, and little displays of affection that make a woman feel special. Yet, over time, many husbands become complacent. Forgetting affection isn't just a temporary phase. It's essential to sustaining love. For some women, the moment they realize something changed wasn't a big fight or dramatic scene, but the slow realization that small gestures, thoughtful compliments, and playful flirting had vanished. Take Sharon, a 71-year-old retired secretary. She remembered when she and her husband would hold hands walking together, when he gently touched her back during conversations, when he hugged her warmly for no particular reason. Now, he rarely even looked at her the same way. Conversations had turned into practical exchanges about bills or errands. Sitting on the couch together felt distant. She had mentioned it once, telling him, "I miss the way things used to be." His response? "We're too old for that now." And right then, she knew he completely missed the point. Many men don't realize affection isn't only about romance. It's about emotional safety. Women don't stop needing to feel beautiful, cherished, and valued. When a husband stops expressing affection, a woman doesn't merely feel lonely. She feels unseen. And feeling invisible creates one of the deepest hurts a marriage can deliver. There's also the reality of how intimacy shifts as people age. Plenty of couples experience phases when desire naturally changes, especially due to health issues or aging bodies. Yet, what truly frustrates women isn't just decreased physical intimacy, it's the lack of effort toward emotional closeness. A husband who no longer shows small acts of affection, stops giving compliments, or ceases initiating warmth, gradually turns his marriage into an arrangement where his wife feels more like a roommate than a woman. Here's the tough reality. Women don't simply adjust to this. They grow bitter. Bitter because their needs are overlooked. Bitter because their emotional desires are dismissed. Bitter because they still yearn for connection, yet their husband has decided affection isn't important anymore. Many women try fixing this before surrendering. They hint at needing closeness. They mention the missing affection and voice their sadness. But if their concerns get brushed aside, ignored, or laughed off, they eventually stop trying. And when a woman stops asking for love, it's not because she stopped needing it. It's because she accepted she won't receive it. That realization gradually kills whatever emotion remains. If this hits home, if you've experienced that painful loneliness of love, no longer feeling like love, you're not alone. Countless women face this as they grow older, often quietly suffering. Number 6, feeling taken for granted. Among the deepest sources of bitterness in long-term marriages is feeling unappreciated, giving, sacrificing, and showing love for years, only to have it go unnoticed or unvalued. With time, many women realize the actions once done from love, preparing meals, remembering special occasions, standing by their husband through life's difficulties, have turned into expectations instead of gestures of care. Once appreciation vanishes, warmth in a marriage fades too. Early in relationships, gratitude often comes easily. A husband might say, "Thank you for cooking dinner," or "I appreciate all you do for me." Yet, as time goes on, husbands frequently stop acknowledging these everyday efforts, assuming their wives will always handle them. This shift from appreciation to expectation slowly transforms love into resentment. Consider Nancy, a retired school principal, age 72. She'd quietly managed her household for years, without complaint, always preparing her husband's favorite meals, maintaining their home, arranging appointments, and handling countless small details that kept life running smoothly. But gradually, she noticed something troubling. He stopped saying thank you. Whenever she went above and beyond, he responded with silence, as though it was simply her duty. One evening, after spending hours preparing dinner, she sat down, looked at her husband, and asked, "Do you even notice how much I do for you?" His response? A confused shrug. Right then, Nancy knew he no longer recognized her efforts at all. Feeling invisible within one's marriage is soul-crushing. When a woman spends years giving without receiving acknowledgement or mutual appreciation, it eventually exhausts her spirit. After a while, she doesn't feel like giving anymore. The heart of the problem isn't just men ceasing to show appreciation. It's that many husbands fail to recognize how much their wives handle daily. A woman who spends her life managing the household tasks, remembering special occasions, emotionally supporting her spouse, and nurturing the relationship might seem perfectly fine from the outside. Yet inside, she may feel exhausted, depleted, and completely invisible. Here's the thing, many husbands don't grasp. Resentment doesn't spring from one significant incident. Instead, it arises from countless small instances of feeling overlooked. When a woman stops feeling appreciated, she begins withdrawing emotionally. Her laughter diminishes. She stops initiating conversations. She no longer does those small gestures that used to come naturally, not because she's punishing her spouse, but simply because there's nothing left inside. Many husbands overlook that showing appreciation doesn't require grand gestures. A simple "thank you," occasionally acknowledging "I see how much you do," or offering an unexpected compliment can significantly impact how loved and valued a woman feels. But when such words vanish completely, the emotional connection fades away as well. If you've ever felt you're endlessly giving without receiving appreciation, if you've questioned whether your husband even notices your efforts, know your feelings matter. Countless women quietly experience this, wondering if their contributions are even seen anymore. If you're still watching this video and finding value in these insights, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. Your participation helps me continue creating supportive, uplifting content. Number 7, realizing they've drifted apart. One of the most painful reasons women begin resenting their husbands over time is realizing they've simply drifted apart, that the man with whom they once shared dreams and laughter now feels unfamiliar. This doesn't happen overnight, but occurs gradually, through years of routine, neglect, and lack of intentional effort to maintain emotional closeness. One day, a woman looks at her husband and wonders, "Who is this person? And how did we end up here?" Many marriages begin with profound connection, deep conversations, shared aspirations, and genuine partnership. However, as years pass, life interferes. Careers, children, obligations, and stress start to dominate. Unless couples actively strive to grow together, they inevitably drift apart. For many women, the initial indication of this shift is the disappearance of meaningful conversation. They notice their discussions no longer carry depth. Sure, they talk about practical matters like bills, family plans, and daily schedules. But the deeper bond, the genuine curiosity about each other's inner world, is gone. She might attempt to bring up something important, yet instead of responding thoughtfully, he gives brief, indifferent replies. Eventually, she stops trying altogether. Take Margaret, for instance, a 74-year-old retired social worker. When she and her husband were younger, they'd stay awake late into the night, sharing dreams, fears, and future plans. But now their conversations had grown superficial. When she asked about his perspective on something meaningful, he'd merely grunt or redirect attention back to the news on TV. If she talked about her personal growth or interests, he hardly listened. That's when Margaret realized she was living with someone who no longer truly knew her. This emotional disconnect grows even more painful when women notice their husbands don't appear bothered. While they deeply experience loneliness, many men continue as if nothing has changed. They assume if there aren't any significant conflicts, everything must be fine. But for a woman, emotional detachment feels just as hurtful as any heated argument. It leaves her feeling lonely, unnoticed, and profoundly isolated in her own marriage. Another common insight is discovering they don't share common interests anymore. As time passes, many women find themselves exploring new hobbies, interests, or perspectives. Yet, while their husbands stay unchanged, she might desire to travel, learn something new, or engage in meaningful conversations about life. When her husband refuses to grow alongside her, she begins feeling stuck in a marriage that no longer brings satisfaction. The hardest part? Many women grieve the marriage they once enjoyed. They recall the man who once made them laugh, who effortlessly held their hand, who genuinely cared about their ideas and dreams. But once that version of their husband fades away, they're left with someone who's physically present, but emotionally detached. And that emotional detachment breeds resentment. Here's the truth. Love isn't something automatic. It requires constant effort. And when a husband stops making that effort, stops discovering his wife, and stops actively maintaining emotional intimacy, he gradually becomes a stranger within his own home. If this strikes a chord with you, if you felt the quiet sadness of recognizing the growing distance between you and your husband, please know you're not alone. Many women experience this, often wondering if they're the only ones who feel this way. If you're still tuned into this video and find this content valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. Your responses help me keep creating content that empowers and celebrates you. Final thoughts. Yushima Surin Sol. As we conclude this video, take a moment to consider everything we've covered. Women don't just wake up one day resenting their husbands. This resentment develops over years of unresolved frustrations, unmet emotional expectations, and slowly realizing they're no longer seen, heard, or appreciated. It isn't always about huge betrayals or big fights. Often, it's the subtle, consistent letdowns that quietly erode a marriage. But here's something crucial. Resentment doesn't signify that love is lost. It signals that something needs attention. Many women suffer in silence, feeling their emotions are too complex to communicate or believing it's too late to fix things. However, it's never too late for open conversations, demanding respect, restoring lost bonds, or choosing a new direction altogether, whatever feels right for you. If any of this resonates with you, your feelings matter. You're not alone. Countless women have experienced similar emotional journeys and emerged stronger, wiser, and more confident. The essential point is acknowledging you deserve to feel valued in your relationship. You always have and always will. Now, I'd love your input. Which of these signs felt most familiar to you? Have you ever noticed a similar shift in your marriage? Share your experiences in the comments. I sincerely value your stories and insights. To Unshopped. Thank you for spending time with us today. We'd appreciate hearing your thoughts. Your input matters, so please don't hesitate to comment. Reading your feedback provides tremendous motivation and inspiration. If you liked this video and found it useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep delivering valuable content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in our next video.